Hello, welcome to this presentation of Sage2PowerBI. My name is Ara Martirossian. I'm going to show you how to use your Sage data with the Microsoft Power BI Cloud. So how does it work? Well, the Power BI is based around the service that is cloud-based by Microsoft, and what you do is you use the Power BI desktop to publish data into the cloud. There's also a chargeable Power BI gateway which allows you to take your local data and on a schedule update that to the cloud on an unattended basis. And having done that, you can then access it from pretty much anything: a phone, a tablet, a PC, a browser, and so on. So why use it? Well, Power BI is a very powerful tool, and it's had rave reviews from the industry experts. It's also fully mobile, so it's available from the Windows Store, App Store, as well as the Google Play Store. So what data sources can you use? Well, loads of them. And the two that are of interest from a Sage 50 perspective are the ODBC and SQL Server. Now, Sage comes with an ODBC driver, so you would hope that the ODBC facility would allow us to get the data into Power BI. But unfortunately, when you try it, it crashes. And it's predominantly because Sage 50 doesn't have a database. It holds its data in files on the file system. So the way around that is to use a tool like Sage2SQL to extract the Sage data, put it into a proper SQL database, and then use that natively from Power BI, which is what we're going to do in the demonstration. At the time of making this video, there were 3 tiers, and the one that I'm going to be demonstrating is the free one on the left-hand side. But there's also a Pro and Premium version which has different facilities, and I urge you to have a look at the website and decide what's right for your requirements as an organization. The website also has examples of large companies using Power BI, but I think the true benefit of the product is its potential use in small and medium-sized organizations, especially with a free of charge first tier, because I think you can get an awful lot out of it. And I'll show you some of that in a second. The web is also loaded with lots of training courses and material in relation to Power BI, and I would recommend you having a quick look and bringing yourself up to speed with the power of the tool. So let's have a look at it in action. Here it is a bog standard Sage 50 system that I've got set up with some demo data in it, and what I've done is I have linked it to a Sage2SQL system. Now what that does is it goes through all the key information held within Sage and extracts them and stores them in a SQL database. So customers, suppliers, products, prices. I can run it either on a timer or ad hoc. So I'm just going to go and run that now. It'll log into Sage. It will bring all the customer information back and put it into a SQL database. And that's it. It's done and dusted. And I can then go to the customer tab, and here are all my customers in a kind of SQL database. And one thing to note here is all the postcodes are in address 5, and we're going to use that in a minute. From here I can do searches, I can do exports, but one of the key things that SQL Server gives you is something called reporting services, which allows you to show the data natively in a browser, which is zero footprint, which means you can share all of your Sage data with everybody in the organization, and here it is. And from the browser I can then save it easily to a PDF or Word or Excel. And that just comes out of SQL Server, and in fact I'm using SQL Server Express, which is the free version of SQL Server that Microsoft make available to users. But we want to do more than that. We want to share that in a Power BI environment. So here's Power BI, and what I've done is I have shared those tables in this Power BI environment. So I've got my customer table, my invoices table, straight out of the Sage2SQL environment. And I can do lots of things here. I can create a customer list. With this list, it's all interactive. I can sort it. I can export it. But I can do an awful lot of other things with it as well. So, for example, in SQL Server, I can create views and link multiple tables so that I can then use that to say, well, show me the sales for a particular customer. By selecting that customer, it will then go off and just bring back the data relating to that customer and what they've bought, when they've bought it, and so on. It's all pretty interactive. And it's very easy to add tabs of information. So let's say, for example, I want a map showing me the location of my customers. I just click on the tool, go to my customers, and this is where address 5 comes in. I'm just going to literally drag that onto the widget, and it will go through, it will recognize it's a postcode, and it will then automatically map all the locations of my customers, which in itself is incredibly powerful and impressive. But I can do even more than that. As you can see, these dots are all the same size. But what I can do is I can say, well, hang on a second, I want you to change the size of the dot based on the year-to-date sales. And by just dragging that in there, it'll instantaneously change that, and that gives you a much better visual representation of all my sales. So I can then go in here and call it YTD sales. And that's now the Power BI desktop done and dusted. Very powerful. But in order for me to share that, all I do is I save it and press one button to publish that information to the Power BI cloud. And I can put it into different destinations or workspaces. So I've got a generic one called My Workspace, which I'm going to look at in a second on my iPad. And it's going to go and replace the one that's there. It'll take all the data and push it up to the Microsoft Cloud, i.e. off my Sage 50 desktop where the Power BI desktop application is, and into the cloud, which can then be shared with as many users as I've got who've given them authority to access it. I've got two links here. So let's have a look at the first one. That then opens up the Power BI data in a browser, and here it is, and it's a very good user experience actually. It's got the facilities that I showed you there in the desktop. So again, I can do all the extracts, I can do all the sorting, and so if I went to the customer tab, for example, I've got all the tabs at the bottom that I had on the desktop, and from here I've got again the facility to sort them, share them, and so on. But the other thing I can actually do from here is have a look at it on my iPad. So let's bring my iPad into play, and that's what it looks like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the orange button at the bottom, which is my Power BI button. I'm going to go into my workspace, and here are the tabs exactly as I had them on my desktop, being shared on my iPad, but the same thing exists on an iPad or iPhone and so on. So very, very powerful and easy to use. So thank you for your time and interest in Sage2PowerBI. Please feel free to drop me an email or give me a call if you've got any queries or if you want to discuss your own requirements, and also to arrange a free trial. Thank you.